What is happening in Karnataka? The BJP said the Congress was in a mess and now all attention is on the Nataka within the ruling party, the BJP. The rumblings have become louder, the tremors have become sharper, the whispers have become more prominent and brazen. Are the days numbered for Chief Minister Bommai? What is afoot? What are all these rumblings really about? I'm going to be decoding those for you here on 5 Live. I'm Shiv Aroor. These are the headlines. Big security alert sounded in Maharashtra after a boat laden with AK-47 rifles and ammunition is found on the Raigad coast. Maharashtra government rules out the terror angle. NIA team likely to reach Raigad. Escalating Savarkar showdown in Karnataka. BJP workers try to gherao Siddaramaiah's car. Congress and Muslim groups protest after Kerala school kid dresses up as Savarkar. China calls its spy ship misadventure in Lankan port a routine affair. India publicly raises concerns over the security threat. Islamist group PFI sees red over Ganesh Puja celebrations in Karnataka. School says move against Muslims since hijab is banned on campus. India's biggest telecom player, Airtel, lauds clean and super-fast 5G spectrum allocation process. Airtel boss Sunil Bharti Mittal says he's never seen such efficiency in his 30-year career. There's been a fresh twist in the Karnataka Chief Minister face Nataka concerning the BJP. As Chief Minister Bommai's chair quakes and shakes and tremors, posters projecting Murugesh Nirani as the next Chief Minister have come up in Bagalkot in Karnataka. Posters greeting Nirani on his birthday in Bagalkot, reading, "Happy 57th birthday." Nirani, remember, had lobbied hard to become Chief Minister after Yediyurappa's exit. I apologize, this is yesterday's. His followers have now called him the next Chief Minister. The 2023 assembly polls in Karnataka are knocking at his door, but there's endless speculation over Basavaraj Bommai's fate. Does he get to go into this election as the Chief Minister, or is he going to have to step aside? Will he be shown the door or remain the Mukhyamantri till the elections? Endless political huddles and statements from within the BJP has sparked big talk of a change of guard.
Is he staying or is he on his way out? There's quite frankly no bigger question in Karnataka's turbulent politics today. The fate of the Chief Minister a year into his tenure looks shaky, with murmurs of discontent escalating into full-bodied rumbles. Whether or not Bommai survives, the current turbulence over his position is one thing, but the tremors are no speculation. Amidst phone taps of ministers,
Sarkar ನಡೀತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ ಅಷ್ಟೇ.
ಸರ್
ಸಲ್ಲಿಸ್ತಾಕೆ 8 ತಿಂಗಳು ಅಂತ
ಸರ್
ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ ಕಣಪ್ಪ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ನಾವು.
to ministers endorsing the opposition party's tallest leader.
ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ನಮಗೆ ಕೂಡ ಆಸೆ ಇದೆ. ಸಿದ್ದರಾಮಯ್ಯನವರು ಅವರು ಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿ ಆದಂಥ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೆ, ಸಿದ್ದರಾಮಯ್ಯನವರೇ ನೀವು ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ಬ ದೇವರಾಜರ ಸಾಗಬೇಕು, ಈ ರಾಜ್ಯಕ್ಕೆ ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ಬ ದೇವರಾಜರ ಸಾಗಬೇಕಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೆ ನಾನು.
To hush-hush meetings between a supposedly beleaguered chief minister and the RSS, hoping for immunity against marching orders.
Is the party ready to change Mr. Basavaraj Bommai as the Chief Minister? That's the big question. But however, it's unlikely at this point of time, because at what cost? It would be a second Lingayat leader who would be replaced. Just now today we saw how Yediyurappa has been elevated to the parliamentary board, accommodating the Lingayat community once again. They are the backbone of the BJP. Will the BJP have the political will and courage to replace another Lingayat? That's the big question. But things are not looking fine for the Karnataka government as for BJP here.
To the BJP High Command's man in charge of Karnataka flying down for a high-level huddle. At the very least, indications are that all is not well. What's more, posters of other BJP leaders projecting them as future CMs have sprung up. A clear sign of blood in the water. The posters coming days after former BJP CM Jagdish Shettar arrived in Delhi, possibly to lobby for a role in the Karnataka Game of Thrones. Even a divided Congress trying to quell a public feud between Siddaramaiah and State Chief D.K. Shivakumar has now found an opportunity to divert from its own internal battles.
Mr. Bommai is going to be replaced as the Chief Minister before the election, sir?
I don't want to involve with their political activities. Let they keep him or let they change him. It is left to them. We are least bothered about it.
D.K.
But we are very
Shivakumar
sorry that Karnataka is taking a very bad shape.
Whether the chips land, there is little time for political maneuver with only 8 months to go for elections. With Nagarjun Dwarkanath in Bengaluru, Bureau Report, India Today.
Let's go straight across to India Today's Sagai Raj joining us live from Bengaluru. Sagai, what is the, what are the rumors and the buzz that you're getting today? Lots of meetings taking place involving the Chief Minister. Arun Singh, who is the BJP in charge in Karnataka, is also there. What's going on?
See, from past few days, all is not well within BJP, especially after Amritsar birthday celebration of Siddaramaiah. BJP feel that Congress is trying to get grounds in the state of Karnataka. And the other side, if you notice, there are communal violence which has been reported in several parts of the state. Keeping all these things in mind, many of them have escalated the issue with the High Command. And even High Command feel that they should address this issue much before 2023 election in the state of Karnataka. And we know very well that they're going to change the state president as well. Nalin Kumar Katil will be changed anytime now. The Arun Singh, who is in Karnataka, will be discussing all possible ways to how to take this forward, because they cannot change the Chief Minister, which can have a major impact on the BJP ahead of 2023 elections. Because last time when they were in power, there was 3 Chief Ministers, and subsequently they lost the next assembly election where Siddaramaiah was the Chief Minister. And even this time, there are a lot of infighting within Congress where they believe that if they try to do anything with the BJP, definitely it is going to be a disaster. And they should also keep their vote bank in place, where especially when it comes to Lingayat community, because they cannot take a chance of changing the second Lingayat Chief Minister in the state of Karnataka ahead of crucial elections.
Thanks, Sagai, for joining us on that. We've got more breaking news coming in now. Slow. The Savarkar showdown has escalated. After Go Sidda Go slogans, now eggs have been thrown at former Chief Minister of Karnataka, Siddaramaiah's vehicle in Kodagu. Congress and BJP workers have come face to face near the Timmaiah Circle in Kodagu in southwestern Karnataka. Black flags have been shown to the Congress's #1 man in Karnataka, former Chief Minister Siddaramaiah. In Kodagu, BJP workers have shouted slogans against Siddaramaiah, while Congress workers have been defending him and rallying around him. Of course, this is over Siddaramaiah's overt support for Tipu Sultan and the celebration of Tipu Jayanti. This entire controversy now has become a Savarkar versus Tipu Sultan political fight, with Savarkar being held up by the BJP and Tipu Sultan perceived to be held up by the Congress party. And it has manifested now in Siddaramaiah facing an attack by eggs, slogans, his car being gherawed in Kodagu by BJP members. Let's go across to India Today's Priyanka Rudrappa joining us live from Shimoga, where the entire Savarkar politics actually originated a few days ago. Priyanka, what do you think is going on? This entire Savarkar fight appears to be escalating, and now Siddaramaiah is under attack in Kodagu.
So it looks like the controversy over the posters featuring Savarkar, which started in Shimoga, is now spreading to other states, other districts in the state as well. It's now escalating and gaining momentum with each passing day. Earlier in the day, Karnataka leader of opposition Siddaramaiah's car was gherawed by right-wing groups. The protesters also threw Savarkar's photo into Siddaramaiah's car while the police tried to control the situation. The BJP workers attacked him in Kodagu earlier in the day. They also started a trend called Go Back Siddaramaiah and called him a student of Tipu Sultan as well. Now remember, it all started after the row erupted over a poster of Damodar Savarkar put up in Amir Ahmed Circle on Independence Day in Shimoga. Now it has spread to Udupi, Mangalore and in Tumukuru as well. In Tumukuru on Monday night, a flex was torn down by miscreants. However, two more posters have erupted. They have come up today as well in the circle in Tumukuru, which is being monitored by the police, and security has also been beefed up. Meanwhile, in Mangalore, on the outskirts of Mangalore, a poster featuring Savarkar and Godse has also come up on the occasion of Krishna Janmashtami. Now, in Udupi, there were posters featuring Savarkar and Subhash Chandra Bose, which had come up, and which had led to protests between Congress, SDPI workers had objected to this, which had been put up by the right-wing groups there. Now today, the right-wing groups are also urging the local administration to install a statue of Savarkar in Udupi. So it doesn't look like an isolated incident anymore. It's spreading to other districts in the state and gaining momentum with each passing day.
Thanks very much, Priyanka, for that. No end to the showdown over Savarkar's posters in Karnataka, while the flames have also spread to schools and even in neighboring Karnataka. The pot simmers with the Congress's Siddaramaiah facing the wrath of angry protesters. Here's a report on what happened.
Congress leader Siddaramaiah facing the wrath of protesting BJP workers during a bid to gherao his vehicle in Kodagu amid the escalating Savarkar face-off. Go Back Siddaramaiah and student of Tipu Sultan chants rented the air. Many protesters even egged Siddaramaiah's car a day after pamphlets were thrown at his car. The protesters upset over the Congress leader earlier slamming them over installing Savarkar posters.
ಸುಳ್ಳು ಸಮರ್ಥನೆ ಮಾಡಿರೋದು ಆಮೇಲೆ ಕಾಂಗ್ರೆಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಗೂಬೆ ಕೊಡುವಂಥ ಕೆಲಸ ಇದನ್ನ ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥಿತವಾಗಿ ಬಿಜೆಪಿ ಅವ್ರ ಫೋಟೋ ಹಾಕಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹಾಕಿರ್ಬೋದು ಮುಸಲ್ಮಾನರು ಏರಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ನಮ್ದು ತಕರಾರಿಲ್ಲ ಬಿಜೆಪಿ ಯಾವ ಫೋಟೋ ಹಾಕೊಳ್ಳಿ.
The BJP versus Siddaramaiah war escalating after this jibe by Shivamoga BJP MLA Ishwarappa.
ಯಾವಾಗ ಮುಸಲ್ಮಾನರ ಭಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಸಾವರ್ಕರ್ ಫೋಟೋ ಇಟ್ಟರು ಅಂತಂದ್ರು ಈ ಮನುಷ್ಯನ ಹೆಸರು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಬಾಯ ಹುಳ ಬೀಳುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ನಂಗೆ ಅನಿಸ್ತು. ಸ್ವಾತಂತ್ರ್ಯ ವೀರ ಸಾವರ್ಕರ್ ಹೆಸರನ್ನ ಅವ್ರ ಫೋಟೋನ ಮುಸಲ್ಮಾನರು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರೋಂಥ ಜಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾಕೆ ಇಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರಲ್ಲ, ಇಂಥ ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರದ್ರೋಹಿ ನನ್ನ ಜೀವನದ ನಾನು ಕಂಡಿರ್ಬೇಕು. ಏನೋ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಗೌರವ ಇತ್ತು ನಂಗೆ ಸಿದ್ದರಾಮಯ್ಯನ ಬಗ್ಗೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಇಂಥ ನೀಚ ಸಿದ್ದರಾಮಯ್ಯ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಗೊತ್ತಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಮುಸಲ್ಮಾನರ ಓಟಿಗೆ ಏನು ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೂ ಬಗ್ತೀನಿ ಏನಂತ ಪರಿಸ್ಥಿತಿ ಬಂದೋಯ್ತಲ್ಲ. ಇದು ನಮ್ಮ ದೇಶದ ದುರ್ದೈವ, ನಮ್ಮ ರಾಜ್ಯದ ದುರ್ದೈವ. ಇಂಥ ಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿಗಳನ್ನ ನಾವು ಪಡೆದಿದ್ವಲ್ಲ.
In Tumakuru, several new Savarkar posters came up near the Ganesh temple in Town Hall area. Earlier, miscreants had ripped off similar Savarkar posters put up in the location. Shivamoga had witnessed clashes between two groups after a 20-year-old man, Prem Singh, was stabbed in the face-off between Savarkar and Tipu Sultan posters. BJP leader Yashpal Suvarna is now seeking a Savarkar statue in Udupi.
They don't know what is Savarkar, what is the contribution of the Veer Savarkar. He is a freedom fighter. He was imprisoned for more than 26 years. He has given the life for 2 times in the history of India.
The Savarkar face-off spread to Kerala's Malappuram after a school student dressed up as Savarkar during the Independence Day celebrations. Congress and Muslim groups staged protest against the school, which was even show-caused. With Priyanka Rudrappa and Sage Raj in Bengaluru, Bureau Report, India Today.
And in the midst of the Veer Savarkar versus Tipu Sultan politics, here's what Savarkar's #1 biographer, Dr. Vikram Sampath, said about the Tipu Sultan aspect of it. Take a look.
I think it's comparing apples and oranges because these were two different men in two different eras. Tipu was in the 18th century and Savarkar was in the 19th and 20th century. Different circumstances. Tipu was a ruler, a medieval ruler who was actually fighting for, not for the cause of a nation or freedom and so on. It was more of a fight for his own kingdom, for his own personal honor and survival. No doubt a brave soldier, but then someone who was killed and martyred in the 4th Anglo-Mysore War. But then his social report card is also not something that that many can hold him to account, considering the kind of bigotry, the mass murders, the conversions of Syrian Christians in Mangalore, and also the Mandyam Iyengars, the Kurgis, the Nayars in Malabar, the thousands and thousands of temples that he desecrated, churches that he broke. These are a different, that's a different era. You need to judge a person by, the standards and yardsticks of that era. So that was a different time and space. So to compare him with someone like Savarkar, who was a modern day leader, just because he propounded the theory of Hindutva, you posit these two people, next to each other, which is, historically it has no basis whatsoever. Yeah. And it's very unfortunate that political parties start taking sides. BJP takes sides with Savarkar, Congress takes sides with Tipu Sultan. In the past, they have also, in my state, commemorated Tipu Jayanti and so on, much to the chagrin of many of the people here. People in various parts of Karnataka came out in protest, not inspired by BJP or RSS or anybody else. It was the genuine anger that still exists. The Mandyam Iyengars to this day do not celebrate Deepavali because 600 of their family, men, women and children, were hung to trees and killed by Tipu on Deepavali. So even today, Diwali is celebrated as a day of Shraddh and mourning by them. So these are also live histories, folk tales, which still abound. In spite of that, for political reasons, for appeasement politics, just to ensure you get the support of a particular community, you don't have to get a icon from that same community. Certainly not a bigot. The same Karnataka also has a Santa Shishunal Sharifa, who's a saint who could be used as an icon for any community. Tipu is probably the Aurangzeb of the South, and he need not be posited as a leader for any community just to get their support or votes. So what we are seeing in Karnataka, I think, is an ugly, misuse of history for contemporary political purposes and for electoral gains. And that is extremely unfortunate. We are doing disservice to the legacies of, I think, both Tipu Sultan as well as Veer Savarkar.
Meanwhile, a big controversy has broken out in Karnataka over Ganesh Chaturthi celebrations in educational institutions. State Education Minister B.C. Nagesh, who had fought hijab in educational institutions tooth and nail has allowed Ganesh Chaturthi celebrations in schools and colleges, saying that there won't be any restrictions because the celebrations will unite people. But the Campus Front of India, the student wing of the radical Islamist organization PFI, which was at the forefront of the hijab showdown, has now slammed the Karnataka government. The Campus Front is now asking, if hijab was not allowed on campuses because it was seen as a religious practice, then how is celebrating Ganesh Chaturthi on campus okay? The organization has also accused the state government of trying to get political mileage and called it unilateral discrimination against Muslims.
ಖಂಡಿತ ಪೂರ್ಣ ಸ್ವತಂತ್ರ ಇದೆ. ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲಿ ಇಷ್ಟು ವರ್ಷ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳುವಂಥ ಅಧಿಕಾರ ಇದೆ.
ಹೊಸದಾಗಿ ಏನಾದರೂ
ಮಾಡೋದಾದರೂ ನಾವು ಬೇಡ ನಾವೇನು ಹೇಳಲ್ಲ. ಯಾಕೆಂದರೆ ಇದು ಸಮಾಜವನ್ನು ಜೋಡಿಸುವಂಥ ಪ್ರಕ್ರಿಯೆ. ಅದರಿಂದ ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಬರ್ತಾರೆ ಅವರಾಗೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಪರ್ಮಿಷನ್ ಪಾಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ.
They are trying to divide the people, communalize the people, polarize the people. The anger against the government on so many issues. So they are trying to divert. So now their new agenda in their communal aspect, it is the Vinayak Chaturdashi festival.
And coming up next, we've got a special ground report from Taiwan with the only channel in Taiwan at this point of time reporting on the Chinese aggressions. Unprecedented aerial provocations by China has triggered one of the biggest counter measures from the tiny island, and we're going to show it to you firsthand when you come back from Taiwan.
Will the falling rupee badly impact the Indian economy? Should India ban trade in cryptocurrencies? To know the answer of several such other questions, read the latest edition of India Today's exclusive Mood of the Nation poll. Subscribe to India Today magazine now.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com. Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices.
Black holes. Did you ever worry that Earth could get sucked into one of them? Black holes do have a massive gravitational pull that allows it to swallow anything that gets in its way. Let's find out more about them. Black holes have been lurking in the galaxies for billions of years. The most powerful known forces in the universe, their gravitational field is so strong that nothing, not even light, can escape from them. They're actually packed full of space matter, so they're not really holes. There are at least two types of black holes: stellar mass black holes form when a huge star, more than 10 times bigger than our sun, burns up all its fuel and collapses in on itself. Scientists say there could be billions in our galaxy, the Milky Way alone. They grow by gobbling up other stars or merging with other black holes to become a supermassive black hole, millions to billions of times bigger than the sun. Humans can't even see black holes, but we can observe their effect on matter close by. When normal stars are sucked in, they accelerate and heat up, emitting X-rays which are detected by orbiting space telescopes.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices.
There is unprecedented aerial provocation and activity by China against Taiwan at this point of time, and it's been escalating with each passing day. As the Chinese Air Force ups the tension with its intrusions, Taiwan has responded by flexing its own air combat strength. Take a look at this exclusive ground report by the only Indian editor in Taiwan at this point of time, Gaurav Sawant. August 17th, 21 Chinese aircraft. August 16th, 17 Chinese aircraft. August 15th, 30 Chinese aircraft. August 14th, 22 Chinese aircraft. Those numbers are Taiwan's record of Chinese aerial provocations and intrusions just so far this week. The intimidatory actions by the Chinese People's Liberation Army Air Force has heightened temperatures to fever pitch. The flight paths of the Chinese jets, carefully crafted to buzz Taiwanese airspace, its air defense identification zone and the surrounding areas, triggering defensive measures from the tiny island, forced to respond by getting its own fighter jets airborne, its air defense systems primed, and its radars positively blaring about the threat. The Chinese jets leading the campaign of intimidation are formidably armed frontline assets. Taiwan says the most commonly detected Chinese fighter in the intrusions is the Shenyang J-11, an air superiority fighter. These jets carry long-range air-to-air and air-to-ground weaponry. The other Chinese fighter commonly cited by Taiwanese censors are the Chinese J-16s, designed as multi-role strike assets capable of standoff bombing missions. While there is no confirmation, there has been speculation that China is also testing its newest jet, the purported 5th generation J-20 stealth fighter, in contested airspace near Taiwan. Apart from fighter jets, China's Air Force has also thrown other combat aircraft into this game of scares. These include the H-6 long-range bomber aircraft, Y-8 electronic intelligence gathering aircraft designed to soak up electronic data about Taiwanese ground defenses and sensors, and KJ-500 airborne early warning radar aircraft designed to control the air battle while keeping tabs on the enemy air force. China has a giant air force and managed to set a record last year in domestic production of combat aircraft, leading to a huge acceleration in training and pilot inductions and the expansion of available aircraft to bring to any fight. Taiwan has a vastly smaller air force but won't be alone in the event of an air battle. But be that as it may, the tiny island has begun to flex its own air combat strength. But as China continues to buzz the island, keeping its defenses on high alert, could things spiral out of control? With Gaurav Sawant in Taipei, Taiwan, Bureau Report, India Today. And let's just show you the 10 key weapons that China has been using in this campaign of intimidation over the last couple of weeks against Taiwan. This is what they're flaunting, this is what they're using, and these are live weapons. The Dongfeng DF-17 is a short-range ballistic missile. These are being fired across the Taiwan Strait. The Dongfeng DF-17 is a medium-range ballistic missile. These are being fired all around the island. The Shandong and Liaoning aircraft carriers, these are the two big aircraft carriers of China. These have been deployed as well, in an intimidatory fashion. Type 055 stealth guided missile destroyers of the Chinese Navy. They're there in large numbers. The Shenyang J-11 is one of the most common air superiority fighters that has been cited by the Taiwanese ground defenses, along with the Shenyang J-16, which is a multi-role strike fighter. The Chengdu J-20 is a fifth-generation stealth fighter, which some reports suggest has also been deployed in this, this campaign of mind games against Taiwan. The Jian H-6 is a long-range bomber, I beg your pardon, which is also been flying over the Taiwan Strait and around the island. PHL-03 long-range rocket artillery have been fired from the eastern coast of China, into the Taiwan Strait as an intimidatory gesture. The Jian Y-20 heavy military transport aircraft have also been flying missions and creating this atmosphere and aura of threat around the island of Taiwan. Now, we've shown you what Chinese weapons are being used. We've shown you how the Chinese air combat activity has escalated quite dramatically over the last few days. Now let's tell you what's happening with the Taiwanese counter force. Taiwanese F-16 fighters have been roaring into the sky in a show of strength to demonstrate the island's own military determination to defend in the face of Chinese intimidation. Take a look. Gaurav Sawant sends us this report from Taipei in Taiwan. Advanced Taiwanese F-16V fighters roaring into the night sky. A show of force and a mega muscle flex in the face of China's uninterrupted campaign of intimidation. Seen here at the Hualien Air Base on Taiwan's mountainous east coast, weapons are slung onto these F-16Vs, Taiwan's most up-to-date combat jets, including Harpoon anti-ship missiles capable of long-range hits on Chinese naval vessels. The Hualien base, which has hangars cut out of the side of a mountain, has two pilots on duty at any point of time, sitting in their flight suits to be airborne in 6 minutes flat. That means the base exists on scramble alert to swoop up and engage any Chinese aerial threat at super short notice.
The tension between the Taiwan Strait is getting higher, and it's obvious in knowing that. But that's still what we're training for, and it's what we're preparing for. So they come and we rise, and so our scramble jet will never stop, and we will stop their offender and outside our defense outside our ADIZ. I won't say there's a lot of change, but our frequency to scramble is getting higher, and so I think the tension from the in the Taiwan Strait is definitely higher.
Taiwan has been converting its 141 F-16AB jets to the much more advanced F-16V type, and is boosting fleet strength by ordering 66 new F-16Vs from the United States. These jets will have more advanced avionics, weapons and radar systems to better face down the Chinese Air Force, including its J-20 stealth fighters that have been busy buzzing Taiwanese air defenses. One of the key weapons wielded by Taiwan's F-16V is the AIM-9X Sidewinder air-to-air missile capable of hot pursuit and kill of Chinese jets at visual range.
We condemn the Chinese Communists' continued provocative actions in the Taiwan Strait, disrupting peace within the region. But we must say, maintaining the intensity of our combat readiness training, ensuring the task of combat training is our force's responsibility.
In the face of nearly 100 air intrusions in the last 4 days alone, Taiwan's Air Force is also displaying some of its most powerful anti-aircraft weaponry. Swiss-made GDF 006 anti-aircraft guns, and the Tiankum-3 anti-aircraft system, a complex surface-to-air weapon that can hit both aircraft and missiles. Also remember that Taiwan has formidably armed Apache and Black Hawk helicopters for any ground support. Taiwan may not be alone if a battle truly begins courtesy China, but the tiny island, for its size, is formidably armed and capable of giving the aggressor a bloody nose. The muscle flex is designed as a counter-reminder to Beijing of this precise fact. With Gaurav Sawant in Taipei, Taiwan, Bureau Report, India Today. And let's go straight across to Gaurav Sawant, who's live with us from Taipei in Taiwan, the only Indian editor reporting from there during this extended, uninterrupted, escalating campaign of intimidation by China. Gaurav, last year in March, the Chinese Air Force had conducted what was at that time the biggest aerial transgression of, Taiwanese air defense space. But that was only a precursor to what we're seeing now. And you are there on the island. You've seen the levels of Chinese aggression. About 90 aircraft have conducted missions in just the last 4 days. The Taiwanese are also hitting back and flexing muscle, aren't they, Gaurav?
Indeed, they are, Shiv. In fact, when you look at Taiwan's operations, they're very carefully, in a way, orchestrated to respond to the Chinese aggression. They've watched over several days what China has done, what China intends to do, and their exercises are to counter China's maneuvers. And extremely interesting, the fact that you mentioned they're acquiring the latest F-16 Vipers up and mounting. That's what Taiwan's defense ministry has just said about this latest exercise when the Vipers took off with the Sidewinders. So air-to-air missiles that can fire beyond visual range. While it's a medium-range air-to-air missile, it's a very clear message to Chinese fighters, including the J-20 stealth fighter. We see you, we spot you, we can take you down. That's the message that's going on. With the Harpoon A-84 anti-ship missile, the message is we're looking at the Chinese ships, the warships that are coming into the transgressing the median line. In case they come into territorial waters, they will be taken down. The Harpoon missiles, as you well know, Shiv, are extremely accurate. And a large number of these aircraft are taking off to carry out these exercises. Apart from the F-16 Vs, and they are still coming in, additional 66 will come in the next couple of years. They also have their own indigenously designed fighters.
Yes.
As some argue, quite similar to the F-16s, almost as capable as the Taiwanese would want you to believe, and they have sizable, fair numbers. So they have the numbers, they design the aircraft themselves, they design their own corvettes, they make their corvettes almost like frigates. It also goes on to show with their anti-ship and anti-submarine missiles, Taiwan insists it's a formidable force. China will get a bloody nose in case it tries. And what Taiwan's President Tsai Ing-wen very clearly said, we are not looking for a fight, but we are not shying away from it either.
Gaurav, it's one thing to watch this escalating tension from the outside. It's another thing, I can imagine being right there, speaking to the Taiwanese people. You are in Taipei. The air bases are, quite a distance away from there. So I'm not guessing you're going to be able to see the actual fighters from where you are right now. You will a little later in the week. But what's the general buzz you're getting? Is this, does this seem like a critical survival point? Are the Taiwanese feeling like something is going to snap soon?
Something major snap, but not soon. Remember, it's the same stock. People, whether they're in the Republic of China or Taiwan, or the People's Republic of China or mainland China, they understand the mindset of those in the PRC and the Communist Party of China, and they're making one thing very clear. These are bullying tactics being adopted by China. China does not have the wherewithal for a fight, at least not just as yet. China will continue to build, it will continue to intimidate and bully. Shiv, you recall what the US 7th Fleet Commander, Vice Admiral Carl Thomas just said a couple of days ago. He said, don't let this become the new norm. Don't let it become the new normal. Because if China can get away by firing missiles on top of Taiwan today, it'll escalate next time. It'll up the ante even further next time. This is exactly what the White House said, and you and I discussed. It's like boiling the frog. That is why Taiwan's also responding with its own exercises to send across a message to China. We can counter to defend our territory. And remember, what China says is take territory, even if it's by force. What Taiwan is saying is defend our territory. And it's not just the fighter jets and the Apaches or the ships. It's also the very formidable, very vast web of the surface to air missiles. And as an expert was explaining to me here, Taiwan is like a porcupine. If China tries to come in, it will be stung at every level. There are so many surface-to-air missile batteries in different islands, very strategically located. Neither the Chinese ships nor their amphibious attack vehicles, nor their aircraft or their submarines. And remember, shallow waters as far as China is concerned, China's submarines cannot dive deep and come into this area. So anti-submarine warfare helicopters and aircraft of Taiwan, and of course American assistance, they are watching every move. They are not intimidated. They are very clear. There is a determination, Shiv. There is also a fact that Taiwan now realizes they will have to invest a lot more in their defense hardware procurement, whether it's unmanned combat aerial vehicles, longer range missiles, and those missiles will be to strike deeper, to send across a message: you try to hurt us, we can hurt you, and worse. So longer range missiles and unmanned combat aerial vehicles is what Taiwan is looking for in its next budget.
It's going to be a long drawn-out affair. It's not going to be something that happens soon, but this is clearly a point from which China has committed itself to really, fulfilling its own objectives. Can it really back away from this without having the world call out its bluff is the real question to be seen. Gaurav continues to report from Taiwan and bring us an unparalleled first-hand view of what is one of the biggest military crises in the world today. Gaurav, thanks very much for joining me on this special broadcast. Now, China continues to torment Taiwan after Nancy Pelosi's visit at the beginning of this month to the island. With Chinese fighter jets inching closer to the Taiwan mainland, the question remains, if China will attempt to capture Taiwan using air power, how will that actually play out? Well, very broadly, this report tries to construct what that could look like. Take a look. Can China capture Taiwan using air power? With such a giant air force, what would such an air campaign look like? Let's get one thing totally clear. Any air battle between China and Taiwan will be a seriously bloody affair, and we'll tell you why. For starters, if military air combat is already a difficult and risky affair, it is exponentially more so over ocean. And since Taiwan is an island about 200 kilometers off China's coast, China's air power campaign will have to be a maritime affair. In March 2021, in a demonstration flight that shadowed the current crisis, China conducted an aerial mission specifically focused on aerially surrounding Taiwan and cutting it off entirely from the eastern side. The mission showed Chinese H-6 bomber fleets escorted by fighters flying through the Bashi Strait that separates Taiwan from the Philippines and arriving on the vulnerable eastern side of Taiwan, the key to debilitating the island. Of course, in a real combat scenario, a high-tech Taiwanese air force wouldn't let the bombers fly so easily. Plus, China has limited experience in over-ocean flights. But these are broad simulations. That China is even practicing such flights means it is in the realm of its warfare plans. It's crucial to remember that in any potential air battle, Taiwan wouldn't be alone. The US Navy's 7th Fleet remains deployed in the Pacific east of Taiwan with heavy-duty aerial combat assets. Alongside Japanese and American fighter assets stationed in Japan, committed to protecting Taiwan from China. Which means any Chinese air combat plans to encircle Taiwan will be met with brutal high-tech resistance. If China attempts an aerial encirclement of Taiwan, it will have to contend with America's F-18 Super Hornets of the USS Ronald Reagan aircraft carrier, and formidable F-22 Raptor stealth fighters stationed in Japan, among others. There will likely be heavy losses on both sides, but one thing remains certain. The invasion and control of Taiwan may be a difficult, logistically nightmarish prospect for China, but everything that China is now doing around Taiwan points to the reality of the possibility. With Gaurav Sawant in Taipei, Taiwan, Bureau Report, India Today. Keep watching. Coming up on the other side, trouble mounts for actor Jacqueline Fernandez in the Bollywood con scandal extortion case in which she's just been named and accused. Details coming up.
The air we breathe inside an airplane is continuously renewed during a flight. It's captured from outside. 30 to 50% of the fresh air, depending on the plane, is mixed with air already inside the cabin. Air from outside is collected near the engines. It then passes into an air conditioning pack where it is heated to about 20 degrees and pressurized to a level close to atmospheric pressure at sea level. The air is then filtered by HEPA, high-efficiency particulate air filters, which eliminate 99.9% of 0.3 micron particles, including viruses and bacteria. Once it's mixed with ambient air, the flow is then distributed inside the aircraft, moving up the fuselage towards the cabin ceiling before passing through vents situated above passenger seats. Meanwhile, a pressurization valve at the rear of the aircraft continuously sucks in air from the cabin at the floor level near passengers' feet and blows it out of the aircraft, thereby creating a continuous airflow. This makes it possible to maintain a constant pressure inside the aircraft and to renew air inside the cabin every 3 minutes.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices.
I don't read the news. I read between the lines to tell you the true version of events, the true story of our times.
To document grief, the toughest assignment for any journalist to be.
From those who matter.
Women politicians going to stick up for each other.
Of those who should matter. I document the truth. I don't distort the truth. I don't glamorize the truth. I don't gloss over the truth.
The ghosts of India's contentious medieval history have come knocking again.
I hustle for the truth. On the ground, in the newsroom, in the studio. I don't try to grab eyeballs.
I inform you to make you see the point.
To the Point with Preeti Chaudhary. At these times, only on India Today.
Co-powered by RK Marble, Khoobsurat Imandari. In association with JioMart, Har Ghar Ka Mart.
Mehbooba Mufti and Omar Abdullah are angry, very angry, that the laws of equality that apply to all Indian citizens irrespective of caste, creed, religion will now be also allowed in Jammu and Kashmir, which became a union territory since 5th August 2019. 25 lakh new voters are likely to be allowed in the new voting list. Who will be eligible? At 6 p.m. prime, I tell you exactly about what and who were permitted and eligible to vote in 2019, who were disqualified, not allowed, and who will now become equal citizens in J&K. That and more at 6 p.m. on India Today with me, Pooja Shali. Do not miss.
And I wanted to get you a breaking update on India Today's big news break from yesterday. A day after Jacqueline Fernandez, the actor, was named and accused in the 215 crore rupee Sukesh Chandrasekhar con scandal. Jacqueline's lawyers have made an explosive claim. Jacqueline's lawyer says that he's shocked that the actor has been named as an accused. The lawyer says Jacqueline Fernandez did not know Sukesh Chandrasekhar's real identity when she was introduced to him, and that Sukesh had posed as a businessman and owner of Sun TV, the DMK-owned Sun TV of Tamil Nadu. That's what Jacqueline's lawyer now claims the actor has now said. Take a look at what the lawyer of Jacqueline Fernandez has said. First, an exclusive to India Today.
We're being joined by Advocate Prashant Patil, who's the lawyer for Jacqueline Fernandez, the actor who is currently in the news for all the wrong reasons. She has been charge sheeted by the Enforcement Directorate, and we're speaking to her lawyer, Mr. Prashant Patil. So, first question to you would be that was there any indication? Was there any indication that she would also be made an accused in this case? Till now, when the Enforcement Directorate is...
Well, honestly, if you look at the matter, you have to first understand what are the facts of the case. What is the sequence of the matter? This is a case wherein there is an accused who is being charge sheeted and investigated by the Delhi police and who has nothing to do with my client. The main accused has been charge sheeted by the Delhi police because this man, allegedly, in handing blows with the Tihar jail officials, conned a lady who is apparently an owner of a leading pharmaceutical company. Now, when he cons her, he uses a modus operandi wherein he uses modular phone technology to make spoof calls, which prima facie reflects that it has been made by the Union Home Ministry. And this is how it has conned many victims. Out of this, he has allegedly procured some 200 crores as proceeds of crime. And the Delhi police has invoked the charges under MCOC against this man and charge sheeted him along with other 9 accused. Now, in the entire investigation, you will see that Jacqueline has not been identified, neither as a witness, neither as an accused. The Delhi police has filed a charge sheet. When the Enforcement Directorate called my client, she has attended the summons. Each and every summons she has attended, she has given all the information possible. She has cooperated with the investigating agencies. And like her, many other celebrities were conned by this man using the same modus operandi. If at Delhi police, the victim, the lady victim can be a conned lady victim for the FIR to be registered by Delhi police, the same modus operandi has been used against Jacqueline. If that is the case, then why Jacqueline has been arrested as an accused? We never saw this coming. No, it's a total surprise. We are shocked. Be that as it may, we have complete faith in the judiciary. According to the latest guidelines of the Honorable Supreme Court, we will challenge these proceedings before the court and we'll seek justice.
Sir, just one question, but you're saying that there was no indication that Jacqueline has completely cooperated with the investigation, but the ED is alleging that Jacqueline Fernandez also was a beneficiary of the proceeds of crime. She received gifts worth over 10 crore. So why is it that she had no indication that she could also be implicated in this, particularly since the ED has been saying that she received gifts from Sukesh Chandrasekhar and was a beneficiary?
See, you have to first understand the facts. These facts are not true. There are no gifts which are received by her by the amount of 10 crores. Absolutely wrong. Okay. It is not even the case of the ED. Having said this, ED has not been able to identify any amount, forget 7 crores or 10 crores or whatever amount, not even a single paisa as proceeds of crime in Jacqueline's accounts. Okay. Whatever is available in Jacqueline's accounts, everything is in white and black. It's her hard-earned money, it's her tax-paid money. Not even 1 rupee she has received as proceeds of crime. Now, there are WhatsApp communications and there is an evidence between Jacqueline and other witnesses, which clearly indicate that Jacqueline says that I do not want these gifts. She denies accepting these gifts. And there are other witnesses who coerce and force her saying, listen, I know this guy, you can accept it. So these WhatsApp messages are retrieved by the Enforcement Directorate. They are the part of the charge sheet. If that is the case, relying upon their evidence, as in ED's evidence, she's innocent.
Okay. So, but sir, one question that has to be asked, and is actually also being asked in the public domain is that if she was aware that this person has criminal antecedents or that Sukesh Chandrasekhar is somebody who is under investigation or is a criminal person, why was she in continuous contact with him at all?
Okay, see, we have evidence which has been procured by the Enforcement Directorate that reflects that she absolutely had no knowledge about this man. Forget the name Sukesh Chandrasekhar, she thought she was introduced as Shankar Vela, as a nephew of one of the leading political leaders of Tamil Nadu, and he projected himself as an owner of Sun TV. So it was a completely fictitious image that he created. And which common man on the face of the planet would believe that this man is sitting at Tihar jail and video calling her? You know, he used to wear expensive clothes sitting at one corner of the jail. So it is for the Tihar jail officials to answer this.
Well, could Jacqueline Fernandez be arrested is the question. She's been named and accused. Her lawyer there giving the other side. As always, first and exclusive to India Today's Anisha Mathur. That's a wrap on 5 Live. Thanks for watching. 6 p.m. Prime with Pooja comes up next. Jammu and Kashmir is likely to get around 25 lakh additional voters, including outsiders, after the special summary revision of the electoral rolls being held for the first time after the abrogation of Article 370. Pooja does a deep dive on 6 p.m. Prime.
La main des aides-soignants. Pourquoi ? Parce que les aides-soignants aujourd'hui, ils sont globalement sous l'eau. Ils ne peuvent plus faire leur métier qui est de soigner. Et donc nous, Emobots, on leur fournit cette information de l'état émotionnel. Ils vont pouvoir mieux comprendre l'évolution de l'émotion de leurs résidents, de leurs patients. Et derrière, on sera aussi capable d'objectiver. C'est-à-dire qu'aujourd'hui, quand on fait un test pour la dépression, c'est un test normé, ponctuel. On demande à la personne de verbaliser les informations. Et donc ça pose plein de problèmes. Et notamment de difficultés pour les personnes qui ne peuvent pas verbaliser.